prepared a lot of Turkish sentences to say, but given the diversity of the crowd, maybe it's more accurate for me to say tere, to say salam, to say durud, to say hey, to say bonjour. Yes, because as you may notice with my accent, I'm French, but I'm working for the government of Estonia and for the E-Residency program. I actually joined the team 1.5 years ago after working for the former French president, not Emmanuel Macron, the other. I moved to Estonia and I joined the E-Residency team. Not thanks to a startup visa, even if we often describe E-Residency as a government startup. So I'm going to talk about E-Residency, but first of all, how many of you are already familiar with it? Good, good. You too, Sander, it's good. I can see the crowd of rich people, just 3 residents who are here. Good to see that, a few people already know a bit about E-Residency, which is good because I'm not going to talk right now about E-Residency, but first I'm going to say a few things about Estonia. And so this is basically how Estonia looked like back in 1991, when the country regained its independence. Actually, it's just to tell you that the country was totally bankrupt. In reality, this is one of the best touristic attractions of Estonia. But basically, in 1991, the country was totally bankrupt. There was no administration, very poor infrastructure. At the same time, to make it a bit more challenging, the country is not that small. We are bigger than Luxembourg, for instance. But the country only have less than 1.5 million inhabitants. So it was quite challenging to build an infrastructure to serve the population. But fortunately, our revolution in 1991 coincided with the digital revolution. So when we designed and when we started to build our digital infrastructure, everything we did everything digitally as well. So it was a very long journey, actually, which is not achieved yet, of course. It took us 20 years. We started with the e-tax board in 2000. Then we had the other things, like a digital ID card in 2002. We introduced the i-voting system in 2005, which is probably kind of unique in the world. You can vote online using your digital ID card. And then, through the years, we developed this digital administration. So now we can say that every Estonian resident uses the digital ID card, has the digital ID card, and 99% of services are online. We do everything online in Estonia using our digital ID card. We do everything but 3 things, actually. We cannot get married, which is unfortunate. It would be great to be able to get married just online within a few clicks. We cannot get divorced, which makes sense because, we don't want people to, I don't know, if you have an argument with your partner, you just go home, go on your laptop and you say, okay, I know exactly what is going to piss him off, I'm just going to divorce online. It doesn't sound that great to me, so we don't do this online, and we cannot build any real estate. But apart from the 3 things, those are very risky operations, you can do everything online in Estonia by using our digital ID card. So the country doesn't only have a digital administration and digital infrastructure. The country also really put an emphasis in developing the right policy framework in order to develop the entrepreneurial mindset. And actually now we became the most entrepreneurial country in the EU, just here behind me, according to the World Economic Forum, so I think it's kind of accurate. We're ranking at the top also in terms of tax competitiveness index, which doesn't mean that we're tax haven, but we have a very convenient and very easy to understand tax system and tax administration, which makes it, again, very convenient for the entrepreneurs. In terms of internet freedom, economic freedom, we're also on the top, or almost. So basically, in terms of ease of doing business, we're competing with some of the best, some of the main countries in the EU, and actually we're improving ourselves to be even more entrepreneurial and even more business friendly. And actually, the idea of E-Residency was actually quite simple. It's just that when back in 2014, we thought about how to make a country bigger, we just realized that those 2 things, this digital administration and this business environment, which is very attractive, those two things were the best assets we had. So we launched E-Residency, which is, just to summarize, a digital ID proposed by the government of Estonia, which allows anyone from anywhere in the world to access our services. And most of the time, the main motivation is to create and run a company fully online, an Estonian company, but without even coming to Estonia. We launched this, and thanks to E-Residency, we actually showed that countries don't have to choose between being open to the rest of the world, even if it's digitally, or bringing and offering value and wealth to their population. It's actually thanks to the fact that we're open that we bring also value to Estonian citizens, which makes sense because we're a public institution. Our program is based on 4 core values. First of all, it's fully inclusive. We have people of 157 countries around the world, and every person on this planet is legitimate to apply for E-Residency. Talking about legitimacy, E-Residency is not a blockchain community or not a random linking group or anything. It's actually a real digital ID, and companies created thanks to E-Residency are real and legitimate Estonian companies with the same access to European market, for instance, and with the same rights and obligations as any Estonian company. Our program is fully transparent, but this is something that's all of the student institution and administration share, actually. All of the key information about companies are accessible online. Even at the program, we share all of our latest stats and data on our website. And also, we are empowering, because with E-Residency, we stand up for equal access to opportunities, and basically we give the tools
to just ask if you want to talk, it's cool, but if you maybe
entrepreneurial potential,
out back,
because we strongly believe that no
make
matter
sure
where you're from,
stage.
no matter where you live, or
make
where
sure
you
it's cool if you guys want to talk, but I would
should
just go
access the same tools that are needed if you want to pursue your dreams and reach your entrepreneurial potential. Here are a few e-residents that we have. We have much more than them, but just to give you a few examples, we have Gabriel Strumer. He's a Swiss citizen from Brazil, and basically he's managing his company fully remotely from Brazil, even if all of his partners and colleagues are living in Switzerland or in the UK. And he designed this global games company, which is now one of the Brazilian most successful gaming companies, and he managed it fully online thanks to E-Residency. We have the example of Deepak Solanki. He's an Indian e-resident developing Li-Fi technology, so something very similar to Wi-Fi. And thanks to E-Residency, he can manage his company from Delhi, and he can also apply for EU grants, like Horizon 2020, for instance, because he has an Estonian company. And now he's collaborating with a lot of big companies around the world, like Air France, like Airbus, and other companies that are not French. We had the example of Andriy. Andriy is from Kiev. We have a lot of Ukrainian residents most of the time. It's because they want to access European clients, European markets. They want also to avoid dealing with too much bureaucracy. So we saw very concrete issues that they faced. And interesting case is Arzu Altenay. She's a tour guide, so nothing related to tech or to digital, but as a tour guide working with a lot of international clients, she had to receive her payments using PayPal. And as some of you may already know, PayPal in 2016 decided not to work with Turkish companies anymore. So thanks to E-Residency, she can still be a tour guide in Istanbul and manage her Estonian company and do offering tours of Istanbul. So in a bit more than 3 years' time, the E-Residency program has attracted 47 e-residents from 157 countries around the world. Some of them are quite famous, actually. You may have heard of Pope Francis. He became an e-resident. He became our first e-resident from Vatican 2 weeks ago. 2 days ago or so, we announced that Bill Gates became e-resident. So we have many other people like Angela Merkel, Shinzo Abe, Xavier Bettel, Prime Minister of Luxembourg. Obviously, we don't expect them to create a company in Estonia after their career. I mean, at least not for the Pope Francis. But it's a great acknowledgement of how advanced our digital society is, and it's a great support for the values of our program. In terms of company creation, we have 8,000 e-resident companies, so 8,000 companies that are owned by e-residents, and out of them, 5,000 have been created directly by e-residents. As you can see, Ukraine is a top country. It does make sense because they have a lot of IT specialists, people who want to avoid dealing with too much bureaucracy, administration, who want to focus on finding new clients, especially in the EU. But Turkey is actually number 8 country. So we have it's one of our fastest growing markets, together with other places like India or Japan or South Korea. Just to give you an example, I'm going to show you a video about one of our notable Turkish residents. We have also a few notable Turkish residents just here, but I'm going to show you a video which will explain a bit better to the few of you that might not be convinced yet why it's very useful for entrepreneurs to become a resident.
Hi, my name is Dante Shilerska, and I'm also founder of Octopus. As a Turkish citizen, it is quite hard for us to travel to Europe and do business with Europe and other countries. The most interesting part was you can set up your business basically in Estonia and you can do business with everywhere in the world. Establishing e-residency company is quite easy and simple. On top of that, you can do independent location-free business with this program. On top of that, if you have a startup idea, you can apply for a startup visa, which is very attractive. Actually, in order to be an e-resident, you don't have to be in Estonia. You can do your business from everywhere. You can have access to e-signature, you can sign your document, you can give equity. Being an e-residency company provides us great opportunity to reach out to the companies or startup ecosystem within EU and United States. E-residency has been absolutely good for us. For me and my team, it gives us great motivation. We feel connected with the world, we feel connected with the Europe.
She's a real person. I mean, it's not an actor. She's not an actor. We didn't pay her for this or anything. She's actually very enthusiastic about e-residency, like for real. Yeah, just a few words about Turkey. We almost have 1,500 e-residents, and 270 new companies have been established by Turkish e-residents. So, which makes it one of the fastest company establishment rates, and actually it's also one of the top countries, not only for e-residency but also for startup visa, for instance, for work in Estonia. So, I mean, all of these institutions, as you can see here. All the institutions that see Turkey as a country full of opportunities for us. Not only because we want to do brain drain, but also because we want to collaborate and exchange ideas, and exchange people at the same time. Because when we say that you don't have to come to Estonia, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't come. I mean, it's a great country, very friendly for a lot of people. We have a growing Turkish community in Tallinn as well. So of course everybody is more than welcome. But we have different offers in some ways. So even if you don't want to become a resident, maybe you want to create your startup in Estonia and apply for a startup visa. We have different offers, and Estonia is actually a very friendly country for a lot of entrepreneurs around the world. We also participate, as you can see, in many events in Turkey. So here it was in Startup Istanbul last year, Kaspar Koyus, the managing director of e-residency. Here's me. It was at Collective House. We organize regular meetups because the community of e-residents from Istanbul is actually very active. We sponsor events. We also interact with a lot of media here, like Hurriyet or Haberturk. So we really want to develop more ties with the local ecosystem. That's why it's very important for us to be here. And we also want to be more integrated and know more about the co-working spaces, the incubators, local accelerators, and understand a bit more how it is to be an entrepreneur living in Istanbul. So definitely feel free to reach me after this presentation and discuss about it. I'm going to tell you now, tell you more about the application process, but actually Those slides are going to be very quick because it's a very quick process. So first of all, you need to go to our website, e-resident.gov.a. You fill the application form online. We only ask you for basic information, like copy of your passport. We ask you for your motivation, which doesn't mean that we're going to reject you if you say that you don't know what to do with your E-Residency card, or if you're just a big fan of the program or fan of Estonia. You need to pay a fee, 100 euros, which covers the cost of issuing the card and shipping it to the embassy. And you need to pick up your digital ID card after you pass the background check done by the Interior Ministry. You pick up your digital ID card in an embassy. We have an embassy in Ankara, and we have embassies in 34 countries around the world. So you have a lot of choices of places where you can pick up your digital ID card. Then when you pick it up, if you want to register a company, it only takes a few minutes, and they will cost you 190 euros. But apart from that, we're not going to ask you any other fee. So actually, it's very easy to become entrepreneur thanks to E-Residency, even if you don't physically come to Estonia at any point. And then, of course, when you become an entrepreneur, when you create a company, if you're a freelancer, digital nomad, whatever, you might need a legal advisor, you might need an accountant, a virtual office. So we put you in touch with a network of Estonian companies which actually grow bigger thanks to the business they do with e-residents. Here are a few of them. Lipin, which is specialized in freelancers and digital nomad. One Office, have a great accountant. Digital Estonia, that has been created by a Turkish resident living in Tallinn. You might need to access financial services, like LHV in Estonian Bank, but with Estonian Bank you will need to come to Tallinn to have a face-to-face meeting with them. But it's okay because you can also use fintech companies and payment institutions like Holvi, Pioneer, or TransferWire's borderless accounts. Here are the few administrations in Estonia that you might deal with. Actually, all of them can be contacted online. All of them, we only ask you once in your lifetime for some information, because then the information becomes accessible, so you will not need to give the same information another time. So it's very easy. Everybody speaks very well English, so that's why we managed to have a lot of pretty happy residents. A few words before the end of the presentation about the future of the program, because of course, as any startup, we try to improve our product. So first of all, as I said, you need to pick up your digital ID card in an embassy, and we have only 34 embassies around the world. Just to give you an example, we don't have any embassy in South America. We have only one embassy in Africa, in Egypt, which is not the most central country in Africa. So we're going to open E-Residency centers, which are centers in which you'll be able to pick up your digital ID card, even if it's not an embassy. We opened the first one in South Korea, and we're going to open new ones in different countries around the world and different places, like Sydney or Tokyo or Strasbourg in Alsace. We know also that more countries are going to compete for e-residence. Next week, Azerbaijan is going to launch its E-Residency program based on mobile ID. So it's the first time the country is going to be inspired by Estonia and propose a similar program. And for us, it's great because, of course, we believe in competition. We believe that ultimately it's going to improve global governance globally, and we think that people should be able to choose which services they want to have from which country around the world. So other countries like Lithuania are also considering similar programs, and actually we welcome all of them. It will also force us to innovate much more. Digital Nomad Visa, another interesting thing that we're working on. Actually, it's a project not of E-Residency, but of the Interior Ministry. But it gives you a bit more information about the mindset of the Estonian administration. And basically, together with a Estonian startup named Jobarego, they want Estonia to become the first country to issue visas for digital nomads, for people who want to come to Estonia and travel in the EU and work at the same time, because right now there's nothing to legally allow them to do it. New community features, because we know that e-residents want to do more business together. They want to pitch ideas, find business partners. They want to organize meetups. They want to hire more people. They want to, they actually want to be much more integrated and act as a community. So we're going to add forum. We're going to add company profile on our website, because we want e-residents to be able to showcase their services, and Estonian companies also to propose services directly to e-residents. But ultimately, what we're doing is not only attracting businesses, we're building the community of Estonia. As I said, Estonia right now has 1.5 million inhabitants, but thanks to E-Residency, we're building a community that is much larger than this. Ultimately, we want the community of E-residents to merge with Estonian one. And we also think that E-Residency could be used to promote Estonian culture, Estonian history, Estonian vision of the world. And we have a lot of examples of E-residents who knew about Estonia thanks to E-Residency, but then they want to discover the language. Some of them actually learn Estonian. It's, I can tell you it's one of the hardest and most difficult languages to learn. But they love Estonia now, so they want to learn the language as well. Some of them want to relocate. Some of the ones want to defend the country, the culture and the history. So it's a never-ending process. But what we do is really about building a community, and everybody is more than welcome. We believe in very inclusive communities. We believe in inclusive identities. So we're not going to ask you to choose between a nationality or becoming residents. So you're all more than welcome. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Excellent.